Tonight of our standard FNM here from Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia, home of currently uncontaminated water. So congratulations, Charleston. We've turned the corner. So let's talk some Magic here already underway. On the left, we have first-time stream participant, Darick Biondi. He more of a casual gamer. I think he plays mostly miniatures, but he got back into Magic a couple months ago. Doesn't get to play FNM every week, but went undefeated tonight. Made in the top 8 piloting black-white midrange. And his opponent is Reid, who I think we've seen on camera 3 times already tonight, playing Colossal Gruul.
Playing turn 2 Sylvan Caryatid.
To destroy Joseph's hopes and dreams in the winning end. So Darick resolving a turn 1 Thoughtseize, which nets a Xenagos here, revealing a hand from Nick that's not all that exciting. And Darick revealing that his black-white mid-range deck is basically looks like the Pat Chapin deck from the Pro Tour. Looks like Soldier of the Pantheon. I see a Reid the Bones in his hand, which looks like we're going to cast now, and that is in fact what we're doing. So lose 2 life. Scry 2, draw 2, right?
Yeah.
And so Nick doesn't really have a very exciting hand, although we don't know the 2 unknown cards in his hand. The Brooding Tree will help them a little bit with Nykthos activations, but he's still at least two green mana symbols away from turning a profit there. And misses an attack, though. I think that might be some inexperience there, as not recognizing that the Burning Tree Emissary cannot block. Of course, he may be leaving him back on defense, to be perfectly honest. He may not want to get in a race situation. We see him draw an Elspeth off the top. Looks like he also has a Desecration Demon in hand, which likely will be the play here. Does he have an untapped mana source? That's the question. Guess not. Temple of Silence. Leaving the card... Oh, it was a thinker. Question in the chat, why is Nick not playing with his cards in his hand? Because this is FNM, and we all know each other. And rather than write it down, Nick's just going to play with it face up to let Darick know what he already knows from the Thoughtseize. So a little bit of sportsmanship here.
It also allows the people on here to know what he has in his hand, what's revealed.
So we're going to cast another Reid the Bones here. So Darick doing most of the damage in this game to himself between 2 Reid the Bones Thoughtseize, dropping down all the way to 13. We see an Elspeth in his hand. He's got a Guildgate. He's got a Precinct Captain. So choked on white mana, it looks like, and choked on lands that don't come into play tapped. So here's a Pelucranos. No, a Xenagos. Gains a life off the multicolored spell thanks to his Soldier. And we can make a Satyr here. And might as well serve in, I would think, right? There's no Satyrs in that pile. You're looking all day. Just any goat's fine.
It's half goat.
It is. It is close to a Satyr. But he doesn't attack there, I guess trying to protect the Xenagos.
Also, like, any attack would just be eaten by the Soldier.
He can attack with the Satyr. Is the Satyr green and red?
Yes.
Oh, that's my apologies. I thought for some reason it was just red. There's really not a cohesion in Magic between permanents making single-colored and multicolored permanents. Like sometimes it makes a single Advent of the Worm makes just a green worm.
Yeah.
But this Satyr is a different color. What did we do there? Hero's Downfall takes out the Xenagos. Thoughtseize, get rid of the other Garrick, revealing a land in hand. Darick now figuring out how to use the life counter. And we know he's only one untapped mana source away from slamming that Elspeth next turn, and not under any pressure whatsoever. Nick can't attack in because that Soldier blanks his 2 creatures that actually have power, and his Caryatid is doing nothing right now. So there's a Burning Tree, doesn't do anything. it loads up a massive Nykthos, but, like, it's not any good.
Do it. He's going to do it. Just for no reason. Confuse Darick to bits and pieces.
I heard him. He said, "I thought I had another card in hand." So whoops-a-daisy. I don't think it makes a hill of beans difference, to be perfectly honest with you. As
now, what exactly is a hill of beans difference?
Let's start with this Obsidat that Darick just drew. Ooh. His hand is Obsidat. Oh, here comes Elspeth. His hand is Desecration Demon, Obsidat, Elspeth. Is that any good? And he hasn't taken a single point of damage he didn't do to himself.
I think against the two burning trees, goat, and Sylvan Caryatid.
I don't know, Joseph. Elspeth has a significant weakness against goat tribal.
You're right, because they can play that chroma card.
But luckily, right now,
I don't know.
Springjack Pasture for massive value. Luckily, the goat metagame currently is kind of lacking.
Yeah. I think Mono Black took the goat metagame down a little bit.
I think you're right. Now, the good thing here is, though, Nick is playing off the top. He has a massive Nykthos activation should he want it. He's decided he doesn't even want to play this game anymore. I can't blame him. He has to draw very well off the top of his... did the live stream coverage of Grand Prix Santiago in Chile. You ever been to Chile, Joseph?
Yes, in my dreams.
In your dreams? I would love to go one time. There's actually a very interesting thing in Chile that I'd love to experience. Is they have this thing on YouTube. I don't know what it's called. I forget what the name of the city, but it's like it's Urban Downhill. It's called. It's a bike race through town that's like mountain bike, but down the streets and the steps, and it's just like a breakneck pace. And you can watch it on YouTube. Like they'll do like GoPro cams of them. It's worth. If you're listening now, it's worth writing that down or bookmarking and searching it. And it's in Chile, and I would love to go see it sometime. But it turns out really far away.
Yeah.
Actually on the other side of the planet. Meanwhile, let's quit talking about tourist events in South America and instead talk about this matchup. We've got Darick up a game with Black-White Midrange. And I think his first appearance in the Lost Legion top 8 since he got back into Magic, so congratulations to him. He trades his early Soldier of the Pantheon for Nick's Scavenging Ooze. We're going to read some bones here. No, we're playing Fiendslayer Paladin. Fiendslayer Paladin, a 2/2 lifelinker that has foe protection from red and black. Basically, it can't be targeted by red or black spells, but it does not affect damage and the like.
Yeah.
So, Boon Satyr at end of turn for Nick. That's going to complicate matters. Caryatid into an Elvish Mystic, but Darick basically has the bigger high end here, the way these decks are built, and I think Nick is not content to throw his Satyr away into that the Paladin. But the problem is Nick's deck doesn't really have a lot of answers. I don't think he has Mortars, to be perfectly honest with you.
I don't think so. Well, Mortars wouldn't answer it anyway, but...
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't. I don't think he has ways of dealing with creatures, period.
Okay.
I know he's going to try to borrow Dominus tonight, and he couldn't find any.
Yeah.
So that's half of their removal suite. Looked like Gore Clans.
Gore Clan. Okay.
He's going aggro, basically.
Okay.
I guess it's not really Colossal Gruul so much as it's like Gruul mid-range, but...
Yeah. Almost Green Red Monsters.
But the naming of decks at this point, it's there's really no differentiation between a lot of these decks.
It is green stuff and other things.
Yep. So Darick is trying to Doomblade, but I think that's just an unfamiliarity with the way the rules work, because Nick is still going to be able to activate Nykthos in response. Because it's a mana ability, he would get it anyway, so... there's an Arbor Colossus, so a bit of a misstep there from Darick. We'll see if it comes back to haunt him. Nykthos allows him to play Arbor Colossus, and then follow it up with another Mana Dork. Or not a Mana Dork, but a Scavenging Ooze. I have life totals from Game 1 still up here. Darick with Hero's Downfall in hand, so we're most certainly going to kill that Arbor Colossus. question in the chat, is the black-white deck the Orzhov aggro deck, or is it Blood Baron deck? It's a Blood Baron deck.
Yes.
It is basically the Pat Chapin Pro Tour deck. There's a very good chance that Darick could have put this deck together in the month following the Pro Tour, and then just hasn't been able to play Magic to the point where he's still rocking it.
Yeah.
It's a good deck, though, so... So, as expected, Hero's Downfall takes out the Arbor Colossus, and then Darick has decided it's time to start swinging in. And Nick, again, really stuck on any kind of business. His devotion is only such that he can tap his Nykthos for green if he wants to, but it's irrelevant at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mana available. We can make a big scavenging use if we want to here, but that's not really where we want to be at this stage in the game. Is Nick down to 2 cards in hand here?
I think it's 2, maybe 1. No, it's 2. 3? 2. I don't know, I can't count.
I knew you didn't know because you guessed every number under 5.
I didn't guess 4, although it looks like... No, it's 2.
So we're going to eat a couple creatures with our Scavenging Ooze, make it a 4/4, then play a Voyaging Satyr. Pithing Needle, likely naming Elspeth. Can you open the door and confirm that for me?
What's Pithing Needle? Okay, Elspeth.
And Darick showing a little bit of inexperience here, trying to discern what this Pithing Needle is all about. In this case, it's basically just going to make his Elspeth a blank. Oh, I think what Darick was asking is about the mana abilities clause on that, which is kind of tricky. It's especially it's number one to note that mana abilities aren't affected. It's also interesting because between Phyrexian Revoker and Pithing Needle, they act very differently. You know, one you can name lands, one you can't.
Yeah.
And it's very important to realize those things. So Darick's serving in with both of his 2 power creatures here, and we're going to trade out our Soldier with the Traveling Satyr, or the Voyaging Satyr. I always say traveling, but...
well, he is traveling. He is voyaging and traveling and synonyms and stuff and things.
And then, end of turn, Nick's going to eat the Soldier to grow his Ooze again. This Ooze is getting out of control here, and Nick probably going to have to be all in on it.
Yeah. The good thing is that Darick obviously has outs and...
Oh, his deck is full of removal. And there's a Polukranos. So now we're at the position where we've got 2 things that we have to kill. Orzhov Guildgate off the top.
It's always pretty good.
Darick has an Elspeth in hand. I wonder if he knows he can cast it, he just can't activate it. I don't think it matters, because it will just die.
Yeah. Well,
but that sideboarded Pithing Needle, I wouldn't cast it now, I would have cast it last turn, but with the Polukranos up, looks like Nick is going to be able to claw back to even here. Oh, to a certain extent, that sideboarded Pithing Needle, because we would have been able to slam Elspeth last turn, we would have 6 tokens at this point.
Yeah.
So activate Monstrosity on our Polukranos, kill the Fiendslayer Paladin. It is going to gain him life because it does deal damage, so lifelink is going to be relevant here. We're going to clean out all the graveyards with our remaining mana and serve in with a now 9/9 Scavenging Ooze and a 7/7 Polukranos, leaving Darick at just 1 life. It's like merciless eviction or no here. He drew a Blood Baron.
It's not good enough.
No, it's not going to be good. And the gained life will not put him over the 7 damage that he would take from the Polukranos. So, off the strength of a giant Scavenging Ooze and a little bit of mana flood from Darick, Nick draws even here. with the Gruul midrange deck. And we go to a decider. Let's see if I can bring up the, what was his name? Brimraz or whatever?
Yeah, Brimaz.
Brimaz. That guy is the real deal.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, actually, I'm the real deal, but...
Joseph, the real deal?
Yeah. My last name is Deal, for those of you who do not know, so it's a pun, or a poon, a play on words.
Some would say it's not a particularly clever one, but it does qualify.
It is. Yes. I thought, when I came up with it, I thought I was so original, and then I realized that literally every member of my family has used that before me.
I'm just kidding.
So...
Just giving you a hard time, but let's check out this man here. We've talked about him all night because he's clearly the best card that's been spoiled so far. With honorable mentions to Searing Blood and what's the new infest called?
Drown in Sorrow.
Drown in Sorrow.
And also, I like the Bile Blight.
Bile Blight's good too. It's basically just another removal spell. It's very rare that it's going to 2-for-1 or something, and we have we have access to multiple 2-for-1s in that situation. It does do -3/-3, which is good against Reckoner, but let's talk about my man Brimaz, King of Oreskos. We've talked about him multiple times tonight, but he bears mention again. So a 3/4 for 3 legendary cat soldier. Which we talked about earlier, is that 14-year-old me would have loved a 3/4 for 3 no abilities. That would have been the best thing. One of the best cards in Magic when I started playing was a 4/5 for 4 with a drawback that made your opponent's creature unblockable. So 3/4 for 3 by itself would have been fine. But this fellow's got some gas. He is a vigilant, and then when he attacks, put a 1/1 token into play with Vigilance, also attacking.
Yes.
And when he blocks, put a 1/1 token with Vigilance into play, also blocking the same creature. Mini Hero of Bladehold, I've heard a numerous amount of times.
The Lion King.
The Lion King is a good one. I've heard on Twitter today that when you meet someone with him, you're obliged to say it's good to be king. I think is a meme that might show up. I think people underestimate this card is very similar to Hero of Bladehold. They operate very differently.
Yes.
Hero of Bladehold's the kind of card that if it attacks once, often it's too much to overcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It hits for 7, and it makes 2 other permanents. This card doesn't get out of control as bad. If this attacks one time, you can come back from that. Oftentimes, Hero of Bladehold if it attacked once, it was over.
This card also blocks extremely well.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. So this card is pretty amazing. It's just like the Titans. You forget that Grave Titan has Death Touch because you're so focused on the other stuff that's so much better. But he also has Vigilance. This seems like almost an unnecessary keyword. You know, it makes it so very, very good. So he's going to be great in for example, Darick's playing Soldier of the Pantheon in basically the same way in his basically control deck, which is it clogs up the ground, it gains him some life occasionally, it protects his life total. Brimaz is the same thing. You can jam it in your control deck, against some like these
mid-range, anything.
Yeah, and we've already talked about the dream scenario of White Weenie becoming viable again, or a White X Weenie. Soldier of the Pantheon into Precinct Captain, into Brimaz, into Spear of Heliod, or Heliod itself. That's a very good curve.
Yes.
So this guy is going to make a real big hit on standard. If you want my unsolicited financial tip of the week, you can still pre-order these on eBay in some spots for like $20. If you want them, you should buy them, because I guarantee you at release they're going to be closer to $30, if not $40.
I would say 40. I'm surprised they are not pre-ordering them for 40 right now in Star City. I don't think it's going to be like so expensive after the pre-release season goes down, but I would say it's a $25 card.
Interesting comment in the chat from Infective saying that whole cycle of uncommon instants from Born is good. You got Bioblight in black, Searing Blood in red, Unravel the Aether in green, Thassa's Rebuff in blue, and the white one hasn't been spoiled yet, but there's kind of a mini cycle there. Uncommon instant. Thassa's Rebuff, we haven't talked about that.
That is very good.
It's very good in one deck. It's very good in the mono blue deck, but here's the thing. How many mono blue decks play main deck counterspells?
Not many.
And in that case, there's usually better counterspells in the sideboard in the form of Gainsay and Matters, and negate for hard counters on things. It's very good in that deck. but it'll be interesting to see if it makes it a splash more than just in the sideboard,
Yeah.
because you don't want to dilute your,
Yeah.
aggro tempo deck with more counter spells.
I also like it in like Modern Merfolk. Someone mentioned they were going to try that out in there. I like that.
Yeah, at that point I'd probably just play Mana Leak or Remand, but like it's a good card. It's not bad, but I don't know if there's a deck that really wants it right now. Like the blue-white decks aren't going to play it. They don't have, I think you just rather play. You just play. Yeah, I mean you have Devotion, but I think you just rather play Dissipate or Dissolve.
But you have your, it's like a stimmy or whatever that thing is. It's like, for one, do it for one. It's so good. Mm-hmm. That was a joke.
Also, a question in the chat: is mid-range Minotaurs going to be a thing? No, I feel comfortable saying that. Malgus might see play, but I don't think it's going to be in the form of tribal.
People will try to make it work, and they will fail. But
meanwhile,
unless they make like
and I promise we'll talk about the game in a second.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because traditionally, all the previous Minotaur that have come into play, prior to like basically the last couple core sets, they were all red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
And then now they're wholesale shifting them into black and red.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating because, like, a buddy of mine plays tribal EDH.
Yeah.
And he's like, more Minotaurs, awesome, and they're all the wrong color.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are gold and you can't use them.
Yeah.
So I think it's just funny that they
some black zombie Minotaurs, but those don't count. They're zombies.
Well, as promised, let's get back to the game here. So Darick, on the play here in the Decider, with an early Soldier of the Pantheon that's been working over, and we see Lifebane zombies. There was a question in the chat earlier of whether or not he would bring those in. He did, in fact, netting a Polukranos. Nick stuck again on a heavy land draw here, and Darick just pounding in with Lifebane, Soldier, and following up with a turn 4 Desecration Demon. This is a heck of a curve out of Darick's deck. I'm trying to think how Nick doesn't even want to play anymore. He draws a land. He has 3 lands in play. You got to take off.